Hello, James. How you doing? Can you hear me? Hello, James. Okay, good. Just some issues I'm having with the internet, I guess, like everybody else. Not special. Hey, I've been looking at. How you doing, Mike? Hi, Tim. I've been watching your videos, Jim, and you're the same one that's in the Tech Talk, correct, Jim? And you were demonstrating the finger technique. Mike, you should have some PDF files in your mail. Jim, okay, that's what I'm calling you. Okay, nice hands, man. Really nice hands. I enjoy your videos. You're a very seasoned player. I'm surprised you're here. Perhaps you just want to learn a different approach or see where I'm coming from. My whole primary source of teaching, is the stick control. Like every drummer, it should be called the Bible. And I've come up with formulas, substitutions, eliminations, and referencing, in addition to the way the book was originally designed for. Now, I've been studying that book for a very long time. I'm not going to tell you because I'll tell you how old I am. And I don't want to do that. So anyway, we all know the level system. I'm not sure, Jim, about the level system. Do you understand the level system? Everybody say hello to Jim. Jim's new. Jim's a really good drummer. He's got some great hands. You do? Okay, Tim knows it. Tim knows it. All right, so Jim, are you familiar with the level system? I have a book in front of me. I don't sell books. That's number one. Okay. Well, there's talking going on. All right, anyway, I don't sell books. I recommend books. And this is one book I highly recommend if you're a seasoned player. This is was written by Jeff Johnson. Jeff Johnson, or Jeffrey Johnson, so he likes to be called, was a student of Morello, Joe Morello's. And that right now he's with, I think, Steve Fiddick from Annapolis, the Navy band. Great drummer, man. He's a good friend. And he sent me this book, The Level System. And what he does, he breaks it down so well. He does a magnificent job of explaining the level system or controlled stroke, so to speak. Okay, so if you're familiar with that, then you know the difference between sticking positions and controlled strokes. So with that being said, let's get right to a formula that I've come up with. It's a good exercise. First off, guys, I need to warm up some. I mean, this air conditioning is killing me. And also, I heard from Mike Clark today, if anybody is in the area of Central New Jersey, he will be a guest instructor at my studio for about 2 months. So if anybody would like to book a lesson with Mike, one-on-one, give me a holler on email or Facebook. Jim, you don't have my email. I'm going to send you my email, all right? I'm going to put you on my mailing list. Just email me. I put you on my mailing list. I'll send you some PDF sheets. Okay? So just make contact with me. Go on, Doc. Where are you? All right. That's my email. So just shoot an email out to me, and we'll talk about what is that XLNT? I'm not certain what that means, James. Jim. All right. Anyway, let's get to a lesson. I got to warm up. What I want to warm up, when I'm in a hurry to warm up or loosen up, I'm very relaxed, and I do an eighth note vamp like this. 4 measures with the right hand, 4 measures with the left hand. Okay? So now, this is at 160. I'm going to put my timer on for 3 minutes. Here we go. So bear with me for 3 minutes. That's enough, I guess. Loosen up. Anyway, this coffee really tastes good right now. I haven't had any dinner yet. This is the second stream I'm doing today. I go back to my online lesson site. You, Jim, you just play the snare, or do you play the whole drum set? Tim, you have any questions about this afternoon? And Mike, you were watching at work, or you're on a computer now. Do you have any questions about what we were doing with the eighth note triplet and the paradiddle? Any questions on that? Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the metronome down somewhat. I'm loose, but not that loose. And I'm going to go to, say, 120. We'll try 120. Now, what I'm going to do, the elements of a triplet, there's variations of a triplet. Good. That's real good, Jim. You could be a guest on this site here. I'll put you on Skype, and we could talk about it to all the people. It's very, very humble of you to be here, and I sincerely appreciate that. You make me feel very good, like everybody else. We're all humble. We're all on the same journey to become better. Anyway, the triplet, the elements of a triplet. I'm not certain. The other guys here, Jim, know how I count a triplet. So let me just explain the triplet. Now, most standard and acceptable of counting a triplet is 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And that's totally correct, but I don't like that, and it doesn't really work for me. So, and there's the other one, look, 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3, and who else knows whatever else is out there. I count an eighth note triplet 2 different ways. The first way is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then for some divisional reasons, I'll break the triplet into 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Now we'll get into that element later, but in the meantime, let's just hang out with 1 and 2 and 4 and. I do sometimes use an eighth note triplet as a vamp. 2 2 3 4 3 3, 4. Alright? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a formula. And I'm going to say, we're going to reference off the stick control book. Example, the first line, 1 and 2 and 4. And the order of sticking is, the sequence is rather, right, left, right, left. So we're going to come up with a formula. R is going to become 3 rights, a triplet, 1 and left is going to become 3 lefts, 3 and or wherever we are. So far, if I did the first sequence, right, left, with that formula, it would be right, left, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on and so forth. Now, I do that at a variety of sticking heights. 1, 2, depending on the tempo, to loosen up. Now let's remember, the object of the stick control book is to make the right side and the left side equalized. The right side has to be equal to the left. I'm going to play my right and my left sound the same, as opposed to terrible sound. So I make that adjustment. That's the object, one of the main ingredients or objectives of the stick control book. Make the right and left sound the same. So now, with that formula in view, R equals 3 rights, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, this is one-dimensional. So we're going to go down to line 3, all right, which is 2 rights, right, left, which is going to give me 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and equal sound, and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom, so on and so forth. Okay? Well, that's a good method, and I think I had Bruce Becker online here as a guest, and I interviewed him. That's why he counts a triplet: 1 la li, 2 la li. And yeah, you're right about no disruption, but 1 and is 1 syllable each. That's the same way as if you're doing a group of 7s. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Instead of 7, to maintain the balance of the 1. What is this? Well, when you say Eastman, that's the Eastman School of Music you're talking about there, Jim? It doesn't change if I went 1 and 2 la li, 3 la li, 4 la li. That's fine. It's not wrong. It doesn't work for me because when I play the jazz time, I don't go 1 la li, 2 la li, 3 la li, 4 la li, 1. I like to get on the same mode as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4. Okay? That's the way I feel comfortable. What you're saying there is not totally wrong. It's correct. If that works for you, go with it. I don't want to change my interpretation or my method of counting a triplet. And being that we're doing the counts, let me go back to this 1, 2, 3, the triplet. I use that as a subdivisional thing. For example, if I'm doing 3 against 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, or 3 against 4. I'm not thinking 1 and, I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it would be kind of hard for me to go 1 la li, 2 la li, to subdivide it. I haven't really tried it. but you're not wrong. If that works for you, man, that is great. But for me, I don't subscribe to that. Now, like I said, we're on one surface here. We're one dimensional. And we're using the line 3 as right, right, left, left. And in the right being, 3 rights, 1, and the 2, and the 3, and the 4. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right, right, left, left. Now, I'll select a couple lines. I'm not going to do 1 through 24, but because the element of time, it's not like it used to be. I used to get up early in the morning, practice all day, and teach and go play. But then you get married, get a couple kids, and your whole life kind of changes. So I'm going to do line 3 at a variety of different heights. That's my tempo, that's my quarter note. Now I'm thinking of the triplet now, not as 1 la lead, 2 la lead, 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right, right, left, left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now I'll take that at a variety of tempos, and I'll do that for a period of time. I do a little bit of an endurance, which I keep it going on, perhaps maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And as far as rushing the sound, Jim, that's why we have the metronome. I mean, I can go like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and I'm not rushing. Or 1 la lead, 2 la lead, 3 la lead, 4 la lead, 1 la lead, 2 la lead, 3. Or 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2. I'm not rushing. There's my pulse. So let me run down 5 lines of stick control book for you, gentlemen. At this tempo, let's see what happens. Starting with line 1. 1, 2, 3, we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bad. Sorry. Line 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Line next. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So on and so forth. It's a good exercise. Let's see what you said there, Jim. Is that from Eastman School of Music, Jim? Yes? No? Hey, Tim, any questions? Michael, any questions? And that's one formula, and that's one dimensional. Now, we could take this to a two-dimensional system between 2 limbs. So I would refer to this as no, no, yes. Okay. Yes on Eastman School of Music. No questions from Michael. No questions from Tim. Any questions for you, Jim? No. Okay. Anyway, we did the one-dimensional, meaning one on one surface. So now what we're going to do, we're going to do sort of a substitution. And this time we're going to utilize the bass drum and the snare drum. And we're going to substitute, instead of playing the right hand, we're going to play the bass drum here. Now, you can't really hear it because, like I said, occasionally, what I'm going to do is open up my sight so you can get a drum set application. At the moment, this is just a drum pad application. And by the way, when Mike Clark does come here, randomly we're going to do some lessons like this on the drum pad. And if I open up my site, well, I'll give you a freebie. We'll have Mike do some lessons on the drum pad, the drum set rather. So let's go to two-dimensional. Now two-dimensional, I'm using the substitution. Instead of playing my right hand, I'm going to play my bass drum. I know you can't really hear it, but I need to take you there because we're going to do that on the drum set eventually. So now, if I'm taking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and what I did there was one-dimensional. Now, with the formula that we're using, I'm doing the substitution, using the bass drum for all the rights, and then for this, obviously for the snare drum, the left on the snare drum. So now, being that said, let's do the first line. 1 and 2 and I'm pounding with the foot. Hopefully you can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's two-dimensional. If I go to line 3, that would be 1 and 2, 3, substitute, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on and so forth. Two-dimensional. We'll go to three-dimensional. Three-dimensional now, instead of using just one voice or two voices, I'm going to use 3 voices. The third voice will be my hi-hat. The hi-hat will be on a heel and toe. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and my heel's going to come down on the 1. My toe's going to be closing the hi-hat on 2. On the count of 3, it's opening the hi-hat. The heel comes down. On the count of 4, the toe comes back down to close it. So, with that being said, you're not going to see it, I don't think. Maybe you can if you see me moving. I'll move my feet like I'm dancing. So let's do the first one. 1, 2, 3, chick, heel, toe, toe. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Three-dimensional. Okay, do we understand that? If I did line 3, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a calisthenic, it's an exercise. Drumming is not a sport, but it is physical. And you use all your limbs, and you give your limbs, you try to equalize your limbs, which you won't do, because your right hand or your left hand will never be at your right foot will never be as fast as each one of those hands, unless you got you have bass drum. No, my heel is up and down. I can't demonstrate it here. Can you see my left foot? I mean, there is a delay here, and I can't help that. When I'm using, I'll demonstrate it with my hand like this. My foot is not flat on the board. Okay? I start with my heel up, my toe is down. My toe being down, the hi-hat will be closed. So on the count of 1, I bring my heel down, and that opens the hi-hat. Now on the count of 2, as I bring my toe down, the heel comes up, and the hi-hat closes. So it's considered heel, toe, heel, toe. So the count for that, the bass drum, the heel is on the count of 1, the toe is on the count of 2, the heel is on the count of 3, and the toe is on the count of 4. Heel opens the hi-hat, 2 closes the hi-hat, 3 opens the hi-hat, 4 closes the hi-hat. Now these are the mechanics of developing some sort of coordination and control of your limbs. It gives you that nice on 2 and 4. So I will do that. I can't do that on my drum set now because the microphones are not set up for that. So hopefully you'll bear with me. Yeah, the bass drum, it depends on what you're playing and how fast you're playing, Jim. When I'm playing, with a trio, a jazz trio, or a quartet, and we're playing, I'm not laid back, but I'm trying to balance my voices. I'm balancing the ride cymbal, the snare drum, the bass drum, and the hi-hat. Now, I do at a moderate tempo, maybe I have to come up with my heel and just play my bass drum from my toe, but I normally play flat-footed on the bass drum, and I don't, I balance that bass drum sound. I don't keep the beater inside the head. What I do is I feather the bass drum to the sound of the ride cymbal and the hi-hat. So I have a nice balance between the ride cymbal, the bass drum, and the hi-hat. And the snare drum, well, that's balanced inside of what I'm doing. So my balance is, I have the bass drum and the hi-hat, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I'm just playing 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I hit the bass drum, the beater comes back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it doesn't come all the way back, because then it's a long distance. It's the same principle as the drumstick. If I hit from here, I'm going to get a loud sound. But if I hit from here, it's a lighter sound. So I'd make that decision where the balancing point is and the musicality of my sound. If I want to get a blend where the ride cymbal, the bass drum, hi-hat, and snare all are musical as opposed to one is dominating the other, I make that decision. Where do I hit the bass drum? And how do I chick the hi-hat? And how do I hit the ride cymbal? So it's more of a personalized thing, but I have the control to take it where I want. The right foot is on the bass drum. My heel is not up. Okay? Depending on the tempo. But when I'm doing a fast tempo, yes, my heel is up and my toe is on the board. And I'm not actually playing from the ankle. I'm playing from the thigh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And I'm very close to the head. 1 ender, 2 ender, 3 ender, 4 ender. It's the distance, if I make it more, I'm going to get a loud sound, and I'm going to exhaust my bass drum with my foot. That's very difficult. So next week, one day, or maybe the 8 o'clock lesson, I'll open up the site, and you can view the site. And maybe Mike Clark could be sitting here or doing a lesson. I don't know. It'd be great. All right. Do you understand that, Jim? The bass drum, it depends. I usually play flat-footed, but if the tempo was up there, man, I need some help. And I get my help from my thigh, and I'm doing this with my leg. But I still have that control of sound. And that's the personalized thing. You have to feel the pedal as you do feel the stick. It's simple. Or now, I'm off track here. We did 3-dimensional: bass drum, hi-hat, and snare drum. Now the next guy, make it 4-dimensional. We have to give the right hand. Good for you, Jim. Good. What I do with the right hand now is we're going to play a straight ahead standard jazz time. I'm locking myself in. I'm being very mechanical so I can put everything in place. I'm not playing an open kind of jazz time. I'm not comping. I'm not playing melodically to the melody with the other guys. Mathematically putting something together. So there is that difference. Now, there is a technique that I use constant to give me a straight ahead sound. And that straight ahead sound is usually used when somebody hires you, and you should know this one, Jim. You say, all right, here's a chart, which is a road map, you should know. I want you to play a straight ahead time. Well, that's what you do. You play a straight ahead time because that's what he's paying you for. And because of that, the reason of playing a straight ahead time, if you're playing big band and you're reading the chart, you have 8 measures, 8 measures, 8 measures, the bridge or whatever. The arrangement is you're keeping the horn section, the reed section, all the sections in place. They're counting on you to be a timekeeper in that kind of situation. I refuse to be a timekeeper. That's why I don't do too much of big band. unless it's a good paying gig. What I do, when I play the straight ahead jazz time, I'm using a level. I'm playing straight ahead, I'm going to play on the surface. The 4. I'm playing straight 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now notice that my 1, 2, 3, 4 coming down from the same spot, same sound. Or theoretically it should be. I'm not getting I'm getting one sound. But now I'm thinking 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 excuse me, 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. So now, for me to compensate, to maintain the straight 4, something has to happen. I'm going 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. So to maintain that 4, 1, 2, 4, that's one sound. That's what I'm after, but I want to maintain that. You have to put them in 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. Boom, bop. Notice the still 4s sounding the same. Now, when I play the rise cymbal, I kind of turn my hand French. Okay? By doing it French, I'm still maintaining the levels because the levels or the control structure, whatever you'd like to call them, follows you all over the place. That's how you play. It's a natural way to play. It's the physics of drumming. Every action, there's an opposite reaction. I come from this point, I'm going to maintain a loud sound. I come from this point, it's not so loud. So, I mean, I'm not going to hit a cymbal up here like that. Let me take that off, sorry. Hope I didn't mess anything up there. I might have. Hold on, gentlemen. There we go. Yep, I did. So you can't see my face. You don't need to see my face. Hold on. There's such a delay. Sorry. Okay, let's see what happens here. It's actually a better view, I think. There you go, back. Okay, so now I'm playing over here as the ride cymbal. I'm dropping that right hand from one position. I drop, come back. Same distance, same sound. Yeah, you have to take into consideration you're hitting the cymbal and it's bobbing like this a little bit. So you got to find that sweet spot to make the all 4 sound the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, hold on. Hey, bonga. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to take this in a 4-dimensional zone. We already went with the bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, the left foot, heel, and toe. The bass drum was substituting the lower rights. Let's try that again. I'm a clown tonight. 4-dimensional. 3-dimensional rather. The bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, with that being said, we're going to put in the straight ahead time. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. My foot is still flat-footed. I'm not trying to get any speed records here. Okay, well, thank you, but I don't like that, taking compliments like that. I mean, just like everybody else, we work hard to become, we're devoted, we have passion, we want to help each other, and we want to learn as much as we possibly can. But thank you anyway, Tim. Okay, anyway, do you understand what I just did with the jazz time? 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now do line 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's talk about the triplet. Okay? Now, the elements of the triplet, I mean, you have combinations. I'm playing straight triplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and and I can play the second 2 notes only. 1 and 2, 3, 4. And I can make that a formula with stick control book. Or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and or just the does. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and or the and of the triplet, which is very uncommon. But man, it's a workout and a focus element. I mean, you really have to be on time. It really helps you develop a great sense of time. If I'm playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and these are the elements of the triplet that I formulate rather, if that's the correct word, and go to stick control book with those possibilities. And the possibilities just seem to be endless. And I'm putting together a series of books like Gary Shafee has, like patterns. Well, the title of the books are Beyond Control 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what that is just the 1 surface, 2 surfaces, 3 surfaces, and 4 surfaces, dimensional rather, of doing the stick control book. They're in process. They're awaiting copyright. It's a lot of work, and hopefully it helps everybody. We have another visitor, 6. Okay. Whoever that might be, hello, good evening, and how are you? Anyway, that should be enough with that triplet with the 4-dimensional thing. Let's take the triplet with another formula. And if you don't mind, Jim, I'm counting the triplet as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and as opposed to 1 lot. What is that? 1 T lot or 1 dot? Hold on. Let me see. 1 lot Lee, 2 lot Lee, which is okay. But I'm gonna keep counting the triplet as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now we're going to take the formula as we're going to do alternating triplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going to put an accent on the first stroke of the triplet. 1. That's a right hand triplet. 1. If I did left, it'd be 1. So if I did a sequence, R will become right, left, right with the accent on the downbeat of the triplet. L would become left, right, left with a downbeat on the accent on the downbeat. So if I did the sequence right, left, R, left, R, left, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so with that formula, it's very important Okay, not a problem. I'm just comparing them. And you brought that to everyone's attention, which is helpful. Because there's not just one way, there's many few ways. And every way that's being presented is not incorrect. The bottom line is this. If it works for you, go with it. There's no right or there is no wrong. I like to count the triplets the way I'm doing. All right, anyway, let's go to with that formula. It's very important that you understand the control strokes and the levels, aka the levels, and to do this extremely slow. Actually, the slower you do something, the more control you need. So therefore, by doing it slow and the more control, you're developing a stronger sense of control. And you're not practicing for speed, because speed does not exist without control. Now, once you get the control, speed is just another dimension. It doesn't. You don't practice it. It happens because you have control. Okay, so now let's take, and we're still on one-dimensional. With that formula, right equaling right, left, right, an alternating triplet with the accent on the downbeat, and left equaling left, right, left, we're going to go to line 2. We're going to do 3 rather. We're going to do the sequence right, right, left, left. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when I play, I don't look like a machine or a mechanic or like a robot. For educational reasons and demonstration reasons, I'm doing it this slow. I'm breaking it down to show you what occurs. If you notice that, now I've done this so long, it's like internalized and it's like second nature. But it's actually, it's the way to do it. You know, it has to happen like this, or else you're going to prevent the natural flow. So what I'm doing with 2 right-hand triplets is I'm going down, tap, up. Now the reason why I come up is now I'm still in position to attack the up-and-coming triplet, which has the accent on the first stroke. So I'm on 2. Now I have to come up with the left and the. Now I'm in position without any disruption or flow to the pattern. I'm in position now to hit the triplet with the left hand. 3 and the 4 and the. So now I'll sit there and practice real slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'll do is get into some sort of meditation kind of thing, okay, and sit there for a minute, 2 minutes, and just practice that. And while I'm practicing, it's not boring. I'm making adjustments with my muscles in my arms and my wrist, and my impact on the drum, the snare drum itself. If I have one stroke that's not consistent with the other stroke that I'm playing an accent, I make that adjustment. Or the in-between notes should all sound the same, whether it's the right side or the left side. And again, we go back to Mr. George Lawrence Stone. Okay? Now, there's like a lot of people here. The only guys that are really interacting here is Tim and Jim and Michael. Who else is in here? And besides me. If there's someone else in here or more people in here, just say hello. Hello, hello. We'll play a song. Hello. Ah, boom. Okay. Now we're gonna go to line 3 like we did. We were doing it slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can put the, I'm not. Hold on. Let's take that's the tempo. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do line 3 for a little bit. 2 right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, 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 right. We need to go home. All right, here we go. Got a cramp. 1, 2. Let's do line 5. That's right, left, right, right, left, right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Boom. Now, if you you gentlemen would like me to do that a little bit slower and break it down some, I will. Is that okay? Everybody understands what I've done so far? And we're still on the first dimension of this exercise. Is everything okay with this? If you want me to back up a little bit, I'll re-explain it. And I have a lot of respect for somebody who goes, can you just slow it down a little bit, or I don't understand quite what the level is, blah, 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 and all that good stuff. You understand it, Mike? Tim understands it, and Jim is practicing. Jim? I'm really humbled that you're here today, Jim. Hey, Mike, I don't know if you're in that tech talk, and I think Jim's in most of my groups now. I put him in there, the Art of Drumming groups. He has a video in there, or a couple of videos. He's an excellent teacher. And great hands, great finger technique, and whatever. You should check it out. And Jim, why don't you post some of your videos in my groups? You know, the Art of Drumming, the hand technique, the stick control book. I don't know if you're in all of them. But I'll send you invites. Is that okay with you, Jim? And Tim, are you in all the groups? Okay, so now we finished the one dimension. Let's do the 2 dimension. Again, the same principle. We're going to do the first line, and we're going to substitute instead of the right hand. We're going to use the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do line 3, it's 2 rights, 2 lefts. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now it's 2-dimensional. And the 3rd dimension is putting the left foot. Again, heel and toe. 1 and 3 to heel, 2 and 4 to toe. If you understand that, I'm going to go right to the 4th dimension. And that's playing the jazz time. Ding, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm playing all the rights with the bass drum, all the lefts with the snare drum, 2 and 4 with the hi-hat, and maintaining the sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on and so forth. Okay, let me just talk a little bit. I'm going to put you in one group, Jim, that's called rookie drummers. Not that you're a rookie by no means, but I'll tell you what, you can inspire a lot of them. And the object of you being in that group would be to help if you can. Okay? That'd be great. We'll do that for you. All right, anyway, I don't have too much more time. Is there anything that you gentlemen would like for me to do here or whatever? Anything. Mr. Tim, Mr. Mike, there's more PDFs coming your way as well. Okay. How about you, Tim? Now, Mike, we're on a regular schedule tomorrow, 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. That's on the site. All right, Jim, how about you? There's 3 other people who are not okay or didn't say hello. Some people just like to come in here, check it out, and then go back on Facebook and make fun, which is okay with me. They can do all the fun things that they want. I do the serious thing. I try to do serious things. Okay, Jim? Anything in particular? All right, I'm going to sign out. Okay. Everybody have a good night.